Hey, this is Jeff with Eternity Shore, and it has been a while since I have reported on what's happening with our boat. Got the flu real bad for a couple weeks and have not been able to even go back to see how things are at the boat. Hopefully the tarp is fine. Haven't gotten any reports that it isn't fine, but I haven't seen it in a month, and there's been a lot of wind and other things. So, if it's collapsed by now, it's okay. I think I'll leave it on for another week or two and then just take the thing off and put the canvas back on. One of the most important things today to do for me is I'm gonna see what supplies I need to order to get the boat all ready to go into the water. Again, I've mentioned this before, but we didn't do anything in the fall, so I'm behind in the boat prep area. So if I walk through it right now, the biggest ticket items besides taking the tarp actually off the boat are washing and waxing. So I may actually pay someone again to detail. She did a great job a couple years ago. We got to figure out the timing of that. So that's one aspect, number one. Number two, and this is not in any particular order, we need to scrape, sand, and bottom paint. That's an enormous project, which obviously has to be done before you put it in the water. Next would be all the work related to the outdrives. We have not changed the gear lube on the outdrives, so that needs to be done. We need to sand again, kind of strip down both the outdrives, make sure that they're clean and smooth. And then we'll do a two-step process. One, we do the chrome, not phosphate, I can't remember what it's called, that sort of base, and then paint. Now in the past, I've used cans of paint and sprayed, and I have not liked the results very much. Instead of buying spray cans this year, I'm going to buy just liquid form quartz or whatever and hand paint it, which I like better. So I'm going to try that. It'll be new this year, which I will film when I do it, is I'm going to paint it by brush. So I need those supplies. On the outdrives, I'm pretty sure that the exhaust bellows on at least one of them is ripped. Last year I had one of the drives pulled, and this year I'm not going to pull the drive. So I don't think I can exchange. I don't think you can't replace the exhaust bellows on these DP-SM Volvo Penta outdrives without pulling the entire thing off. I don't think you can. In terms of the outdrives, all of the anodes need to be changed again. So we have to order those. So that would be the outdrives. So we got washing and waxing, we've got the bottom scraping, sanding, painting, and then the outdrives. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's absolutely necessary before the boat goes in the water. The only other thing would be to put the drain plugs back into the engines. All right, once again, I'm afraid to pull up and see what we're gonna find with the tarp. It's collapsed. It's still on. The front collapsed, but it's still on. Let's go take a look. Okay, once again, the front all collapsed from wind, but that's okay. It's okay, it's intact, it's not wet underneath, and here in the rear everything is fine. So I don't think I'm gonna restructure that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I gotta just pick it. It's just a mess. I'll come back later and take it off this week. While I'm here, I just got power to plug in and get my battery chargers charging. If I'm here several hours, it should help charge the batteries.
At this point, I thought it would be a good idea to give you an estimate for how much the supplies cost for us to prepare our boats to get into the water. So we need to take the tarp off and set up the canvas, which is free. Then we'll start working on the other projects. First thing is someone's going to need to wash and wax the boat. We already have wax, so I won't go into how much that costs. I really hoped to have been able to outsource that to someone to do the detailing. But the person that I had did it a few years ago was not available, so I'll have to see.
Of course, every year we've got to do the outdrives, so we'll strip that down, and then we'll use the chrome stuff and then paint. I think this next year we're not using spray paint. We're going to use actual paint this next year on it. I don't know if the exhaust bellows, both of them or one of them, is ripped. If so, you know, you're supposed to pull this and take it and remove it. I'm not really sure what we're going to do. I don't know. It's hard to face that.
Let me start at the most involved area, and that is back by the outdrives. So first thing we're going to need to do is replace the anodes for the outdrives. There are 3 different anodes. The top one that you see there is in the back of the transom, and the 2 next ones are shell like anodes, and they go on the trim tabs. And then finally these other anodes go to the back of each of the outdrives. Now you do the anodes after you do all the painting. It did not do the gear oil for the lower units, and so I bought 2 quarts of gear oil. In terms of the outdrives, they need to be sanded and stripped first, and then we put on this zinc primer, which is only about $18 from Amazon a can. So I got 2 cans to be able to do a coat on each of the outdrives. Secondly, this year, instead of using a spray can for the outdrives, we're going to go with this anti-fouling Trilux 33 in a quart. Believe it or not, yes, the quart is $95 through Amazon, just for a quart, and we're hoping that it will last for both of the outdrives. It's probable that we may have to buy another one, since it seems like that stuff is more expensive than the spray cans. And once we're done with that paint, the outdrives will all be ready to go in the water. In terms of bottom paint, we used this bottom paint last year, which is about $130 per gallon. We would do 2 gallons, 2 coats of bottom paint on the bottom of our boat, and after having scraped it and after having sanded it. This little oil filter is cute. For $14.60 you can pick up one. This is for the generator. It has to be changed every year. Along with that change, we have to obviously change the oil. So we've got the Kubota 10W30 engine oil part, number 7000, etc. This is $46, $47 basically for a gallon. That will cover our generator without a problem. In terms of the engine oil, again, we have not changed our engine oil. And from liters RPM, we're picking up this fully synthetic oil for the engines. I got 2 of these, so these are a gallon a piece for $43, which is really not that bad of a price for them. Along with changing the engine oil, you got to change the engine oil filters. We've been using these large Sierra oil filters, which are about $15 for several years and have not had a problem, so we'll do that again. Each of these jobs takes some time, but also takes some money, so I want to tally it here for you. Up at the screen, we'll walk through it. You can see that number just for getting this at a minimum requirement to get it back in the water. It is quite high. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and watching this. I hope that's been informative for you. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and soon we will be back in the water. Hooray. Have a good night. Ciao.